Jada Pinkett Smith, getting wiggy with it. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Now, before we go any further, how many of you are either in your head or out loud going, na 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 na, na 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 na? Come on, fess up in the comments. I know you all are doing it. Pun aside, one of the issues that has arisen from the Oscars slap is this whole issue of Jada Pinkett Smith and alopecia. And we have seen numerous comments on my channel and, of course, across the internet more widely about her alopecia. Has she got it? If so, what's caused it? Has she not got it? Therefore, why is she making such a big deal about it? And therefore, it behoves me to explain more about her behaviour to help you understand what's driving her actions. Before I go any further, if you have not listened to my excellent series, 6-part series, Jada Pinkett Smith, What Is She? Stop now, pause this video and go and listen to those, because otherwise there's a slight spoiler with regard to what she is, or you may have already reached that conclusion yourself and therefore it isn't. But if you don't know what she is and you'd like to find out, go and listen to that series. You'll find it in the playlist Will and Jada. That stated, let's move on to explore what's happened. Let us go back a little in history to find out more about her disclosure about having alopecia. During the first season of Red Table Talk, Pinkett Smith revealed why she'd been covering her head with a turban. After getting every kind of test there is, she explained she'd been told that she had alopecia. She stated, "That's why I cut my hair. My hair has been a big part of me. Taking care of my hair has been a beautiful ritual, and having the choice to have hair or not, and then one day be like, oh my God, I might not have that choice. I really had to put in a spiritual perspective of, like, the higher power takes so much from people," she continued. People are out here who have cancer. People have sick children. I watch the higher power take things every day, and by golly, if the higher power wants to take your hair, that's it. God, you want my hair? When I looked at it from that perspective, it really did settle me. Now, of course, there's an excellent example of her grandiosity there as she equates the fact that it's God that's taking her hair. Now, irrespective of what your religious beliefs are, rather than just talk about the fact that she's losing her hair, she attributes that to God, because only God can affect her hair, which is a manifestation of her grandiosity. This first arose in May 2018, and then in July 2021, Pinkett Smith declared it was time to let go of her hair in the caption of an Instagram photo with her daughter Willow Smith, who also had shaved her head. "Willow made me do it," blame shifting. "My 50s are about to be divinely lit with this shed." No idea what that fucking means, but anyway, that's what she wrote. In September 21, on another episode of Red Table Talk, she elaborated on the decision to shave her head fully and said that her husband loves the look. "I was ready for that kind of expression and release," she told her mother and her daughter. "I'm so glad I did it. It was such a beautiful experience and such a freedom. I feel more connected to myself and to the great divine in a very special way. I was just like, I'm done. I'm just done with the worry. I'm done with the care. I'm just done." More word salad. In December 2021, just before the new year, Pinkett Smith discovered a new patch of hair loss, which she shared with millions of Instagram followers in a close-up video of her bare scalp. Again, oversharing, lack of boundary recognition, assertion of control as a consequence of placing that on social media. "Now, at this point, I can only laugh," Pinkett Smith said in the clip. "Y'all know, I've been struggling with alopecia, and all of a sudden one day, look at this line right here. Look at that. It just showed up like that. And this is going to be a little more difficult for me to hide. So I thought I'd just share it so you all are not asking any questions." In the caption of her post, Pinkett Smith wrote, "Me and this alopecia are going to be friends, period. Mama's going to put some rhinestones in there," she continued, pointing to the exposed skin on her head. "I'm going to make me a little crown. That's what Mama's going to do." So that's a brief timeline of the revelation that she is suffering from alopecia. Now, I have explained in considerable detail, as a consequence of the examination of evidence, that she is a narcissist. And having established that, it now enables us to understand her behaviours through that lens of narcissism. As I explain to people, you can't determine that somebody is a narcissist off one event or just a couple of events. You have to look at a range of behaviours over a sustained period of time, operating to a strict evidential standard to make a determination as to whether this person is a narcissist or not, looking for the indicators, and if there are a certain amount of them across certain categories, then there's a determination that this person is a narcissist. And I made that determination using my expertise and my categorization of her. With that information, we can now understand what drives her behaviors, because when it comes to her interactions with other people, everything she says, everything she does, is driven by the pursuit of the prime aims: control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. Her narcissism doesn't switch on and off, it's there all of the time. If she sat watching a film on her own, she doesn't need to control anybody, she doesn't need to draw fuel, she doesn't need character traits or residual benefits. The narcissism's there, but if you like, it's gone into sleep mode. But the moment that somebody interacts with her, boom, the narcissism then has to look to control that person. So if she's watching a film on her own and her husband walks in, he comes up on the radar, and her narcissism then needs to compel her to do something to establish, is he under control, and if not, to bring him under control. It's evident, as we've seen at the Oscars, that Chris Rock's joke was what is known as challenge fuel to Jada Pinkett Smith. If you want to understand more about the interactions that you can have with the narcissist, please go to the Knowledge Vault and obtain the 3 interactions with the narcissist. Essentially, of those interactions, there's the provision of pure fuel, wounding, and challenge fuel. And challenge fuel, for instance, is where you might say to the narcissist, I hate you, you're useless, you're an abuser, I wish I'd never met you. Your anger provides fuel, so that's not a problem. However, the issue that arises is that because you are insulting the narcissist, because you're calling the narcissist bad names, that threatens the innate need for control. And therefore, that is what is going on in the underlying situation. So it's challenge fuel. Fuel is provided, and there's a challenge, a threat to the narcissist's sense of control. As an unaware narcissist, she doesn't realise that's what's going on, but that is what is happening. Her narcissism then, on her behalf, like a background app, kicks into life. And basically, because Rock is not under control, her narcissism has to bring him under control. And again, to understand more about that, go to the Knowledge Vault and obtain the 3 assertions of control. The starting point is for her narcissism to consider, shall I assert control against him directly? Which would mean, for instance, her shouting, shut your mouth, you twat, for instance. Or, how dare you talk about me in such terms? Or perhaps running on and doing a flying dropkick to his face. That would be a direct assertion of control. Or approaching him and arguing with him. There's lots of different direct approaches of control, but her narcissism decided, on her behalf, that that was not the appropriate way of going about it. So there was no direct assertion of control over Rock. But her narcissism can't leave the matter and just go, oh, well, we've not chosen to assert control directly. Let's just open a bag of Doritos and watch a movie. The narcissism has to still do something to get that all-important control. So it moves on to the next choice, which is indirect. If indirect isn't available, it then moves to withdrawal, which is a position of last resort. Understand, the narcissist, in some shape or form, always achieves control. We always achieve that. Here, it moved to the second assertion of control, indirect, where basically, either as a consequence of her facial expression, which Smith picked up on after him laughing at the joke, or, quite possibly, as a consequence of her saying something to him, for instance, are you going to let that stand? Or, are you going to do something about that? Or, I can't believe he made that comment about me? Or, what a prick for saying that? Or, Tupac would have shot him by now. Something may have been said. There was certainly a look. We've seen that. And Smith will have also witnessed her displeasure. But it's likely although we don't know for certain, but it's likely that she will have said something as well. Typically, a narcissist would do so. So she finds the G.I. Jane comparison annoying, irritating, hurtful. She rolls her eyes because this threatens her sense of control. Will Smith may have seen her unimpressed view, and she may also have made a remark. That then causes Smith, through his desire to want to protect her, to jump into action. Now, what he might have done is said, I'll take it up with Chris later. We'll leave it for now. Or he might just turn and say to her, what a total prick saying that. Don't worry, I'll sort him out later. And that would have actually afforded the sense of control in the unconscious for Pinkett Smith, because he's agreeing that Rock's out of order. When a narcissist smears you to somebody else and that third party agrees, so for instance, a narcissist says about you, oh, my ex-wife's an absolute lunatic, snake with tits, and his best bud goes, oh yeah, women can't trust them, can't stand them. That agreement allows that narcissist who's just smeared you to have an unconscious sense of control over you. So she could have made a remark, the disparaging remark about Rock, or even just a disparaging look about him, which in effect smears him. And Smith could have responded by, I know, he's completely out of order. I'll be having words with him later on. Can't do it at the moment. And that would have afforded her that sense of control. However, Smith went further, as we all know, and jumped into action. And you can listen more in the video, Why Did He Hit Chris Rock, for that explanation. Leaving aside the rights or wrongs of what Smith did, he was motivated by other factors which I've explained to take this action. And in effect, by going up and slapping Rock, he asserted control on his wife's behalf by demonstrating that he agreed that Rock's comment was wrong, and his verbal abuse of Rock thereafter cemented that. That allowed Pinkett Smith to experience unconsciously a sense of control. The narcissist gained that all-important control. Also, she gained fuel, because the reaction of Smith, both to her and in what he did towards Rock, was predicated by her. She caused it by her look and or with her comment. And therefore, she drew in a large amount of fuel because her intimate partner, primary source Smith, responded to her, perhaps verbally, and then acted by the imposition of physical violence and verbal abuse towards Smith. And therefore she received fuel alongside that. It also assisted her with regard to a residual benefit. It enabled her basically to maintain this facade and that her honour had been protected. It also demonstrated, of course, that she had control over Smith. Now, that's what's happened. That's the anatomy of the action and what she achieved and what she gained from it. But what about the question of all of this linking with the alopecia? There are various possible scenarios. 1. She has alopecia, and it is because of an underlying medical condition, as she's stated. Accordingly, what she's doing there is using the truth as understood by everybody to achieve the prime aims. She uses the alopecia for the purpose of assertion of control, drawing of fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. Remember, she's a narcissist, and the narcissist, when interacting with other people, will use those things, certain aspects, in order to get to those prime aims. And her alopecia is used in that way. It is essentially a commodity that is, in effect, traded, utilised, discharged, relied upon, to get to the prime aims. So if she has got alopecia, and it is because of the underlying condition as she has explained, then she's using the truth to get to the prime aims. Scenario 2, she has alopecia, but it isn't because of an underlying condition, and instead it might be because she has mistreated her hair for a number of years, as many people have suggested. There is a half-truth being used. She has the alopecia, but she's not been truthful, at least from anybody else's perspective, as to the cause of it. Therefore, there's the use of a half-truth by way of manipulation to achieve the prime aims. Or, scenario 3, she doesn't have alopecia at all, and she has just decided to have a buzz cut, and claims that she has alopecia. She will believe that she has, because as an unaware narcissist, she believes the lie that is being told. So if she does not have alopecia, then her narcissism convinces her that she has, and that she uses that fallacy for the purposes of asserting control, gaining fuel, etc. It isn't my role to make a determination as to whether she's got alopecia or not. That's not my area of expertise. There are other people who'd be far better qualified to observe that. But I have seen in the comments much made of the fact, and from alopecia sufferers themselves, that they don't believe that she's got alopecia. I leave it up to you to make a determination. The point is this: whether she has, or whether it's generated by an underlying medical condition or hair misuse or something else, or whether she hasn't, it's important to understand how her narcissism utilizes that. Now, many people are thinking to themselves, well, if you're an alopecia sufferer, however caused, whether it's real or imagined, then clearly alopecia is a problem for you. So why didn't you get wiggy with it? Why did you wear a wig if it's such a concern for you, if you're so sensitive about it? Why doesn't she then? Why doesn't she opt for the wig? Well, some people might say, well, why should she? Why should she have to hide her condition? But the condition there in that question is, it's clearly an issue for her. She appears to behave sensitively. Therefore, you could do something, and she's got plenty of money, to have a wig so that not necessarily anybody would realise that she's suffering from the condition. Of course, she's made mention of it in the past, so wearing a wig now might be closing the stable door after the horse has bolted, but she could have done it at an earlier juncture. So why doesn't she get wiggy with it? Why doesn't she wear a wig if she apparently is so concerned about her alopecia that it causes her to be unimpressed when a joke is made by reference to her hairstyle? The reason is that the alopecia, real or imagined, is only a problem when her narcissism decides that it can be a problem so that she can use it. So at 9 a.m, it's not an issue, and she can shoulder off her baldy napper to the world, and it doesn't bother her in the slightest. Indeed, it could be showed off for people to say, you look gorgeous, because the look does quite suit her. And they can say, that really suits you, that having that haircut. And she says, well, yes, it's my alopecia, but I've had it cut short. No, that really, really suits you. So she triangulates that individual with her alopecia, with the short hair, gains praise and flattery, which is positive fuel. She could do that at 9 a.m. And then at 10 a.m, somebody makes a remark about saying, hey, Baldy, what's going on, slaphead? And then her narcissism directs her to play hurt by rolling out a pity play, perhaps turning to Smith and saying, did you hear what he just said about me? That's disgusting. And he says, I know, babes. I'm really sorry that ignorant people make such remarks. So her narcissism directs her to use it for the purposes of a pity play. Quite simply, her alopecia, whether it's there, what it's caused by, or whether it's imagined, is simply a commodity for her narcissism to use as it sees fit to gain those prime aims. She will, of course, regard herself as attractive. And, objectively, you would say that the look does suit her. And therefore, she doesn't need to wear a wig. And therefore, if that's the case, why then does she act hurt or angry concerning this alopecia? It's because, like anything in the hands of a narcissist, it will be used to the narcissist's benefit as the narcissism sees fit. Accordingly, sometimes the narcissism won't rely upon it. Sometimes the narcissism will rely on it in a positive manner. Sometimes the narcissism will rely upon it in a negative manner. It will be used to blame shift. It will be used to triangulate. It will be used to receive flattery. It will be received to demonstrate braveness. It will be used as a pity play. It will be used as the basis as frustration. It will be used as the basis for expressing objection to the comments of somebody else so that her husband, you better go and do something about this. In the same way that a telephone, or a packet of cookies, or a relationship with somebody else, or the state of the house, or the temperature of the bedroom will be used by a narcissist in order to gain those prime aims. Her alopecia, whether she has it or whether she hasn't, in a sense, that's irrelevant, because it's either the use of the truth, half-truth, or nowhere near the truth. But the point is to help you understand the issue with her alopecia in the hands of a narcissist, because we've established what she is, enables her to use that unconsciously for the pursuit of the prime aims of control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. And that is what's actually going on. And it's a valuable lesson for all of you to understand that her alopecia, like the colour of her dress, like her children, like anything else, whether it's a person or an object, can and will be used by a narcissist unconsciously, where an unaware narcissist, for the pursuit of the prime aims of control, fuel, character traits, and residual benefits. And now you know. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.